What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. Today over on YouTube we had Breezik join us, and over on Patreon we had McKinley and Felicia Angel. Thank you so much for your support. You know how much it means to me, and I'm so thankful to each and every one of you, so thank you so much. And to each and every one of you for coming here every day to support this channel by watching, liking, and all that other good stuff. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. And with that being said, let's just crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now our first story comes from #Stack. Am I the arsehole for airing out my parents' failures as parents? I was raised in a hyper-religious Christian household in a conservative state. My parents put religion over everything, and we weren't given basic sexual health education like periods because children shouldn't know those things. My parents thought that we'd turn out like them, but oh boy, were they wrong. I'm 20 female, go to a top 10 school in the US for computer science, I'm guessing, and I rarely if ever came home. But during the pandemic I've had to move back, and it's been absolute hell for me. My sister, 22 female, is the mother of 3, 6 female, 2 male and 2 male. She got pregnant at 15 and it was quite a scandal. She literally got pregnant because she had like zilch sex ed, so when she and her boyfriend had sex, she didn't think she would get pregnant because of all she heard how difficult it is to get pregnant and how people try for years. She and her husband are now high school dropouts and work blue collar jobs, which is no shame, but my sister was actually doing well in high school, so she could have had a better life. Her husband is a tool and is lazy as fuck. I've known this for a while, but just coming back home after college and seeing her like this makes me sad. She's not happy with her life and finds it boring and feels chained. I also think she's cheating on her husband, but that's a different story. I'm so upset for her and mad at my parents because this literally could have been preventable. My parents had people over the other day and they were bragging about how they're parenting and how both their kids turned out well. They were telling these other parents who have younger kids about how important it is to shield kids from the outside corrupt knowledge, like sex, drugs, LGBTQ, all that stuff, and they hate how gay-friendly children's TV has gotten. They went on and on about how schools should never teach anything related to explicit body parts and that schools are promoting lewd behaviours. I honestly had enough and came out and told everyone that if they wanted their daughters to be poor high school dropouts with full bellies and tiny mouths to feed, and their sons to start multiple families before the age of 18, then by all means follow my parents' advice. I then went on to say that my parents deserve no credit for my success and that I did the exact opposite of what they told me to do. I said that I took the time to teach myself sex ed, know and respect people in the LGBTQ community, and I've turned out better than most of the kids in our entire neighbourhood. I know I came off pretty egotistic and self-righteous, but honestly, I've had enough of my parents' parenting sermons, and they were horrible to my sister and I. My parents are pissed off at me since I made them look bad. When I reminded them about my sister, they said it was God's will. My sister is happy because she has kids and a husband. Apparently that's a formula for happiness, and that they still wouldn't have changed what they did if they did it all over again. They're grounding me, and I'm not talking to them. Am I the arsehole? Firstly, I'd love to see how they can ground a 20-year-old. And I saw a couple of comments below about just countering everything as it's God's will. But I think it should be said that this post isn't about bashing religion or anything like that. You know, there's many posts that we read that have religion and people using religion for their own sort of benefit to push their own views onto people. And I know religion, you know, is not like that for most people, right? But let's take a look at the comments below to see what they say. Lizard Manelli says, as a person who believes in God, it frustrates me so much that for so many people it seems easier to just God equals religion equals social acceptance. That's not what it's all about, and that's how this sort of shit happens to people that are basically inherently good people. They get swept up into this whirlwind of propaganda and it becomes a giant circle jerk vortex that sucks you in until it turns you into a racist, homophobic, xenophobic bigot, and don't even wonder how you got there. Ugh, sorry, major pet peeve, rant over, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Not the arsehole 100%, you may have broken a social norm in saying this out loud in front of everyone, but you had the guts to call them out on their hypocritical, self-aggrandizing BS, and honestly, good on you. All you did was speak your mind. Also, can they technically ground you since you're an adult now and staying with them rather than living under their roof? Like, is there any way you can politely refuse to be grounded, or would that be just a step too far? Either way, it was probably worth it, not the arsehole OP, and go you. Purple MP says, not the arsehole. If you're at a top school, have you spoken to someone there about your home situation? You might be able to get help to stay on campus, even while things are closed due to COVID. Top schools tend to mean more money, if we're talking private, and they often have resources for exactly this type of thing. Pretty Little Peacock says, not the arsehole. How's that grounding going? I'm imagining they haven't realised you fully understand that as an adult you can come and go, as much as the pandemic allows, as you please, and there's not much they can do about it before they cross the line into illegal behaviour. Now, what do you think about this story? Do you think OP was right to call them out in front of people, or do you think they should have waited and maybe just talked to them in private about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for telling my sister why I didn't donate to her GoFundMe? My sister and brother-in-law are attempting to have a baby via IVF. They cannot afford the cost of the procedure/treatments, so they started a GoFundMe to raise the money. They need $13,000, and as of today, have raised not even a quarter of the amount needed. My sister called me up and asked if I saw the link to the GoFundMe, and asked when she could expect my donation. I told her that I wasn't going to donate. My brother-in-law does not have a job and refuses to get one because he claims he is too disabled to work. He spends most of his days online googling symptoms and making doctor's appointments, and my sister shills makeup for a pyramid scheme. They live with brother-in-law's mum and are getting ready to be kicked out because according to my sister, she is constantly breathing down their necks. When the reality is they borrowed money from our mother last month to cover their rent and car payment. They have burned a lot of bridges in our family and with several of their friends because they have taken advantage of so many people financially. I told my sister that they were not financially ready or stable to have a child, and that people do not want to donate money to someone who is bringing a child into a situation like this. She has since vilified me to anyone who will listen and is calling me spoiled and entitled. In one of her social media posts she said that family is supposed to support family no matter what. So I responded to her post and told her exactly why I wasn't supporting her. She has since deleted that post and is trying to turn the family members who will still talk to her against me. My mum thinks that I should apologise to keep the peace, but agrees that they are both being irresponsible and immature. I refuse to apologise and it is now causing a huge rift between me, my mum and my sister. My mum said I should have lied and said I didn't have the money to donate so that this wouldn't happen. Am I the arsehole for telling my sister why I wouldn't donate to her GoFundMe? Oh god, the entitlement in this post. That first bit where she said, when can I expect your donation? And it always gets me, like, how do people have the audacity to approach someone like that, even a family member, and so when can I get some money from you? I wouldn't ever think about going to, unless it was like a proper dire situation. There's no way I would ever approach one of my family members and say, look, can I have some money? And then we move on to the pyramid scheme. I wonder which one it is. Arbonne, maybe. Juice Plus. Herbalife. Avon. It's just never ending at this point, isn't it? I wonder which one she's a part of. Not that it makes any difference, but I always find it interesting. But no, I can't say you're the arsehole for calling them out. It sounds like they need a wake-up call in some form. And for her to post it on Facebook, typical, right? And you called her out on Facebook too, which is just the right thing to do. And it just shows that she deleted her post, that, you know, she knows she's in the wrong in the end. But let's have a look at some of the comments below to see what they say. Silverthing says, and quotes, my mum thinks I should apologise to keep the peace. Your mum needs to stop coddling them. They will not mature unless they are forced to, if then, and they are determined to bring a baby into their mess. They need a hard dose of reality, and keeping the peace will only prevent them from becoming actual adults. Not the arsehole. Glenn's Phono says, not the arsehole, you chose to donate and she pressed you for an answer. If she didn't want the honest truth, she should have left it alone. Nobody is obligated to donate anything. Molotov says, not the arsehole, and quotes, when can I expect your donation? Then says, never, you donut. Long Jumping says, not the arsehole, it's not realistic for them to plan to bring a child into a situation like that. Surprise babies can be catered for, but choosing, planning and paying to bring a child into your life like that doesn't sound like the best idea. Common sense, if unfortunately not all that common. And Hairiest Alien says, not the arsehole, you could have put it a bit easier, but it sounds like they need a wake up call. If that would even work on these two knuckleheads. The fact that your sister is involved in a pyramid scheme is worrying enough, and is there any requirement that they use this money for what GoFundMe says anyways, or could they just blow it on whatever they want? Then OP replies, this is a valid concern. They have made GoFundMes before for vet bills when relatives stopped giving them money and used the funds for a car they now cannot afford. Oh my word. Now what do you guys think of this story? Do you think they could have approached it in a different way? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from OK Pen. Am I the arsehole for inviting my sister's soon-to-be ex-husband and his affair partner, my best friend, to my wedding? I just started learning English for my honeymoon, so please excuse any mistakes, plus fake names. Background: back in May, my sister 26 found out her 27 husband, who she's been with for 7 years, married 4 and has a child, 1 female together, was having an affair with my best friend, Kate, 32, for the last 2 years. It was a shock. There were tears and tantrums for weeks, and Kate and Tim told my sister about their relationship, and he was fighting for a divorce. My sister became very angry and bitter towards them both, which I can understand. But here's the issue: me and Kate have been best friends since we were 5. Obviously I told Kate off about the affair and stopped talking to her, but in July we made up and I saw how happy they were, so I invited them to the wedding. Me and my ex-brother-in-law were close. I thought they'd put the differences aside for me for a single day, because even though my sister won't admit it, she has to be civil to them in the long run for her daughter's sake. Well, Friday when Kate and my sister showed up for a fitting, all hell broke loose. My sister called Kate a nitty prostitute and asked me what kind of game I was playing. Kate was crying / apologising, sister just told her to fuck off, then left. Since then, my sister told me she and her daughter aren't going to my wedding. Most of my family have joined her, calling me a bridezilla and an arsehole. Even my in-laws are mad. So give it to me straight. Am I the arsehole for just wanting a perfect day where everyone puts their differences aside for me? I was asked to add this info. Yes, Kate knew my sister was going to be there. She wanted to talk to her and maybe try to mend things. No, my ex-brother-in-law didn't know. He chewed both of us out because my sis is 8 months pregnant and has already been making it difficult to see his daughter. Me and Kate are closer than me and my sister. My sister and I have an okay relationship, but the age gap does get in the way, and my sister is closer to our younger brother. Also, my sister is telling people to choose, either go to my wedding or she'll never speak to them again. You know, your sister had a long relationship and she was being cheated on for 2 years. So I can understand why she's so upset about this, and you're asking her to go to a wedding with the couple that betrayed her. Both these people betrayed her, and you're trying to make her go to socialise with these people. Well, she doesn't have to socialise as much, but even be in the same room is probably pretty traumatic for her right now. And in this story, you're talking like you've forgiven them both, so you're allowing them to go to your wedding. Well, they didn't do anything wrong to you in the end. They've done this to your sister. You can't blame your sister from getting so upset. I don't quite understand the logic there. I kind of wish OP would just put herself in her sister's shoes. You know, she's just about to get married. She's just going on her life journey. And imagine this happens to her in a couple of years. Something forbid, her husband cheated on her, and then her sister was like, oh no, it's all okay now, I've forgiven him. How would OP feel in that situation? She would feel pretty shitty too. You are the arsehole in the situation for having little to no empathy for your own sister, man. Wow. But Pizza Martini says, you're the arsehole, you can forgive Kate. It's completely unreasonable and unrealistic to expect your sister to be okay with her ex and Kate so quickly. You don't get to force reconciliation on your timeline. Did you not warn your sister that Kate would be at the fitting? Did you not warn her that Kate would be at the wedding? Did you even try to avoid drama? Edit. Does anyone care if Kate knew if your sister would be at the fitting? All I want to know is if your sister knew Kate would be there. Based on your behaviour, your sister telling people to pick between you and her isn't surprising. You behaved horribly. Kirby says, you're the arsehole. 1. You made up with your best friend after you found out she was having an affair with your ex-brother-in-law in 2 months. Did you think your sister has gotten over her ex-husband in 2 months? 2. It's not your choice, really, to forgive her. I mean, you can let her back in your life, but she hasn't done anything wrong to you. So you saying you forgive her means nothing, but you don't care what she did to your sister anymore. 3. Why invite the ex-husband? Yes, he might have been close to you, but shouldn't you care more about your sister and understanding that having one less person that would cause drama there would be a good idea? I'm sure that not having him, but still having Kate and your sister there would have eased tensions a little. 4. Where is your sympathy and empathy for your sister? She is a new mother and her ex-husband cheated on her with someone she should have been able to trust, her sister's best friend. You seem to have no understanding about how much she is probably hurting right now, and you seem to not be helping her feel better, which would ease the tension if you really wanted Katie at your wedding. This is so unbelievably stupid, and you are either a troll, an idiot, or an uncaring person. Be prepared to ask your sister for forgiveness or a chance of being left out of your family. I know I wouldn't choose my homewrecker best friends and my ex-brother-in-law over my sister and my family. Now I turn this one to you guys. What would you do in this situation if, you was on the other side and your sister was betraying you like this? Well, what I look at it as betrayal. I'd certainly be upset if my brother done something like this. I know that for sure. How would you deal with it? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story is from a throwaway account. Am I the arse for going off on my sister-in-law because of the way she talks about her, possibly, autistic daughter? I've been debating on making this post for a while, but the dust has settled and everyone is acting like I'm the arsehole, so honestly, a bit of a validation post. So my sister-in-law has 2 children, a girl that's 18 months and a boy that's 6 months. This post is in regard to the girl. She doesn't speak at all, she babbles, but mostly makes pterodactyl noises to communicate. Recently we were all planning Thanksgiving and my niece was running around in the background. Side note, her nickname is Baby Bird because she flaps her hands like little wings when she's running and playing. Somebody made a comment I didn't quite catch, but it was something my niece was doing and my SIL shrugged and passively said, well, she might be autistic. This was the first time that had ever been mentioned, and of course we all had questions. Sister-in-law said when she took the baby for her checkup, the paediatrician said she was showing signs of what may be autism. I asked her how she felt and if she was okay, and she laughed and said, it's a non-issue, we always knew she was a bit throwed off, we just have a name for it now. Everyone laughed and I asked her what she meant by that. She described all the autistic tendencies, her words not mine, and said she didn't care. She wouldn't treat or love her any differently. I told her that was a horrible way to talk about her daughter. Everyone got quiet and just stared at me, and my husband was giving me a look like he wished a hole in the earth would swallow me, but I kept on. I told her she can't treat her the same way because she has special needs and won't function the same as other kids. I told her she's not thrown off, she's autistic. My SAL stared at me for a moment and then said, thanks for that Melanie Barnett, which, what the fucking even is that, and then left. My mother-in-law went off on me. My other sister-in-law told me I was doing too much and my husband just looks at me like I'm a disappointment and barely speaks to me. What the fuck? How am I the arsehole? So Reddit, soothe me. Am I the arsehole? Oh dear, the fact that OP's come into this post saying like, this is a validation post and in the end saying, soothe me, how am I the arsehole? Oh my word. And when I was reading this, all I could think is like, OP is just like twisting the mum's words in this. And the only way I can really explain it is like one of my teacher friends, when they talk about certain children, not in a negative way, they can always tell when they're like slightly autistic and they have to go through various steps before they can actually get it diagnosed. And the teachers don't treat them like any differently as a person, as an individual, but they know there's steps that need to be in place to assist them further down the line and as they're developing, because some people, not all, develop in different ways. So what the mother in this story is saying is exactly right. She knows there's something slightly different about her child and she's in the process of getting the autism diagnosed. And she says she's not going to treat her any different, not going to love her any differently, which is totally, absolutely fine, And I think OP has just twisted the words round in here, in my opinion. And just to give you a little update, I've been reading a book on autism since I made a stupid comment a little while ago, so I am educating myself as well, just to keep you updated on that front. But let's have a look at the comments below to see what they say. Lola the Showgirl says, in quotes, so honestly a bit of a validation post, in quotes again, so Reddit soothe me. And then says, I find it honestly hilarious how earnestly you thought you were in the right. You're the arsehole. Big time. Nico says, you're the arsehole, you have no idea where your niece would potentially be on the spectrum, so your overreaction was really unnecessary. Also, lots of 18-month kids babble and don't say words yet. That's normal, stop mum shaming, yeah? Excellent Ostrich says, you're the arsehole. As parents to 2 autistic kids, I have to say people who have the most judgment and the most say are usually the people who have no idea what they're talking about. Clutching your pearls over the language used isn't helping anyone. Don't you think your poor sister and her kids have enough to deal with? No Good Name says you're the arsehole for arguing with a mother, stating that she's in the process of getting a diagnosis and will love her child regardless of the outcome. There's no basis for your interpretation that she would not pursue treatment if the child is indeed autistic. And Friendly Nia says, you're the arsehole. Normally I'm so against partners who don't defend you in front of their family. In this case, I actually feel for your husband. There's no defending what you did. And Fruit Additional says, you're the arsehole massively, unbelievably. A majority of parents know long before a doctor that their kid is off. So when it's finally got a name, it's just handy. Doesn't change anything, especially for an 18-month-old. What possibly went through your head that meant that came out of your mouth? If I were mother-in-law, I'd not be in any hurry to have you in my home again. Now, what do you guys think of this story? What do you think about OP thinking they're so incredibly right? Or maybe you do think they are right? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And if you really fancy it, come into our Discord and say hello. I'm around there most evenings, so it'd be great to see you. I'll see you guys in the next one. Much love.